Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
Today we're taking a look at Ponzi Scheme by TMG.
Ponzi scheme. What is it?
So Ponzi Scheme is an economical game set in the roaring 20s. I know that sounds really boring, but the game was actually really, really good. Actually, it was one of our biggest surprises, and even regrets that it sat on our shelf for so long before we actually got it to the table.
I was really surprised by it. Like when they're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be like taking out loans and paying back money and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds really boring."
That sounds too close to actual life.
Yeah.
This dropped down on our list of games that we're going to play. Like, we have all these games that we haven't tried out yet. Which one should we try? Let's try Ponzi Scheme last. And that was a mistake. We really should have played this one first. And the game is actually surprisingly simple and really easy to learn. In fact, if you want to know how to play the game, because really here we're just going to talk about our thoughts and experiences on it, you can go ahead and check out the Board Game Renegade. He has a 60-second review where he actually kind of sort of explains most of how the game works.
So my initial impressions of the game, first off, there's paper money. It's kind of like Monopoly money. It's a little smaller. The art's a little different. And that was one of the things where I was like, paper money? Who uses paper money anymore? But it's actually really vital to the game because of this envelope where you're like secretly exchanging money back and forth. You really need this thin paper money to be able to conceal it. Because if there was cards in here and you had like a whole bunch of ones, you can kind of tell the envelope was thicker or thinner. But besides that, the component quality is like top notch. Even the box is like extra thick. All the cardboard is like just super thick punchboard. I was actually opening a few games at the same time, and this one was like surprisingly thicker. Right? It's like twice as thick as some games, and I was even unboxing some other TMG games, and this one still is just super thick and chunky, which is satisfying. The first player mark is a super thematic little fountain pen. This little leather envelope, you just feel super cool with it. Like, just everything about the way the game feels is excellent.
And now what Wes was talking about with the paper money and the deals, the action that you take, which is to try and make a deal with somebody, is definitely the absolute best part of the game. Now, because we all sit down and we're, ooh, thank you, Aaron, I'm not taking it. We're sitting down and we're like, look, we know that we're all playing a losing game. Like, look, if you take this card, you get $10, but you owe $9 later. And I'm like, what, it's just $1? It's like, yeah, we're all playing a losing game. But it's not, who's making a smarter investment, because there are no smart investments. They're all bad, they're all terrible, everyone's going to lose eventually. The real crux of the game is ironing out those deals. How can I swindle who and what and where? Like, look, what amount of money can I put in here where make him enough where he can't refuse? Where it's kind of like it's either A, I pay him $10 and get that tile, which is great, or B, he pays me $10 and gets that tile, he takes my tile, which is bad, but hey, I could try to bankrupt that other person. So there's always different layers to it. It's not just, how much is this tile worth and how much do you want it for? It's no. How much money can you risk before you're going to go under? If he can keep buying all my tiles from me, absolutely. I will take every offer you can, because then when it comes time for you to pay your interest, you're going to go under. I only have 2 tiles left, but it doesn't matter because you lost, sir.
Which is why I think that you really need a lot of players in the game. Because if there's just 2 players, yeah, it's just whoever goes bankrupt first.
It only goes to 3 players.
Oh, well still, if there's only 3 players, there's a lot less of that, like, not just staying afloat, but also having points. Because it's not, like, there is one winner, but the game ends when there's one ultimate loser, and then amongst the winners you figure out who has the most points. And well, yes, it would be really nice to be one of the finalists. You still really want to have the most points to win. So you're constantly playing that balance of staying afloat and also trying to have the most tiles and money, but you can't push it too hard because you go under. But the important thing to remember is at the end of the day, everyone goes under. I think that's the thing to remember in this game is like, take risks. Don't play it safe because everyone's going to lose.
So I actually played this the less risky way, and I was always trying to be safe and taking out the funding that would give me enough money to like last for a couple rounds. And I'd always I'd sit there and really weigh out like how much things were worth to me. I'm like like from game to game, like we played multiple games, like the value of these industry tiles, like it changed every game. It really is dependent on the game you're playing right then and how much money you're willing to give, and if you can pay off all these loans that you have in the upcoming rounds. So I was always just like, I'm gonna take like the lowest one with like the like littlest difference between what I owe and what I receive.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that, now you may think that that's the best strategy. You may see these like bull market cards come out and you're like, what? I get $80 now, but I owe $160 in 3 turns. Why would I ever do that? The real point of it is, though, I mean, the bull market cards it's probably hard to justify that. But with your strategy, when you're constantly saying, I am only going to take the cards that give me enough money and allow me to give back less than that. All the ones that say you get 30 but you owe back 25. You get 40 but you owe back 39, you know? Mm-hmm. The problem with that is that the exact amount of money that you have is so small, it's so vulnerable to those trades. Mm-hmm. I flap $10 in front of you and you're like, oh dang, $10 is a huge deal. Either A, I really, really need this $10, or B, I cannot lose that $10. So there's no dominant strategy and there's no clear path. Because, and really, if you played this game with people who weren't mean and who didn't want to trade, if we just took out the loans and never traded with anybody, and it would be a completely boring game. Mm-hmm. But those trades really turn the tide, and it's because it's such a smart mechanism. Here is $10. Either you give me your tile for $10 or I give you my tile for your $10. One of those is happening, that's it.
And those trades are really my favorite part of the game too, because there's like a deduction aspect to the game, but not how you would normally think of like party social deduction games. But you're looking at people and saying, because the money's all secret, you don't know what everyone has, but you're looking at what they have to pay off, and you're looking at like, oh, he's going to owe $120 next turn. He really needs his money, so I'm going to start lowballing him for his tiles here because I'm assuming that he can't afford to lose $5 for a tile where someone else just bought a tile for like $20. So you start lowballing them and they either accept it, or I've been in those situations where like I'm like frantically counting my pennies and being like, oh, I have $4 to spare, and he just offered me $5. Like, I have to sell him my tile even though I don't want to. And then if you like let people catch on that like, oh, Wesley over here is really hurting for cash, let's all lowball him. Or you like can pick one person at the table and just say, hey, nobody trade with him, or everyone take his money if he trades with you. And you can really like bully people and mess with their heads. And I really felt like I was in that like Wolf of Wall Street situation of like just sipping my whiskey and like messing with people's money and playing with it. And it just, you get so into the game.
So you haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street, have you?
So this game really teaches you to be like afraid of bears.
As you should.
And what I mean by that is, you know, these red cards are coming out with the bears on them, and when enough of them get out there, the market crashes. And you're afraid of the market crashing and you want to get rid of these to keep the game alive, or you try and force that market to crash, which we've tried to do in some games. And you're like, okay, I'm going to take this one. It didn't crash. Like, I wish it would have. It would have been awesome.
Because then everybody rotates their clock twice and has to pay more interest, and you can be like, well, I'm totally all right, but screw that, nerd. Overall, I really, really liked Ponzi Scheme. Way more than I ever thought I would. If you're kind of turned off by the theme, get over it. For real. It is unbelievably solid. It's a very, you play the players, not the game type of thing, which I love because, Cosmic Encounter is one of my favorite games because of the mind games. This is all about mind games. And again, if you feel like you're going to play this with people who aren't really going to trade and they're just going to be real mathy about it, don't do it. It won't be fun. The fun is in the trades. Honestly, I probably would think that this might be the best TMG game I've ever played.
Oh.
Ooh.
You're absolutely right, Tom. This is a great product that TMG has brought us, and I don't know if I could ever, look at one of these trading style games again and like just disown it because I might be passing up on a good game. Like, we almost passed on this one, and then we played it, and you're like, wow. So this is definitely gonna be a game that I want to play again and again, where you're just like, all right, let's see how long I can go without going bankrupt and make you bankrupt and just take that.
So we can't say it enough. This game was such a hidden gem for us. We love playing it. It's super easy to teach. Like, it may take you a second to understand the concept. I remember me and Tom sat down and we were just like hashing out how to play. We were like, wait, that's it. I think that's the game. It's really easy to teach people and like introduce to them. And it looks heavy and it looks complicated. But once you sit down and they're like, oh, that's it, let's go, let's play, and you can get a really good game going. I love this game, and I cannot wait to play it some more.
If any of what you heard sounds interesting to you, you can go ahead and click in the link in the description down below and get yourself a copy. We highly recommend it.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never be bored.
Aaron always tries to use props.
We didn't pass on it. We just said, well, let's put that to the bottom of the list because I'm assuming, judging this book by its cover, that I'm not going to like it. And we were wrong.
We'll get to it. There wasn't enough pictures in the rule book.
That is a problem. That is an issue.
4 pages, 2 pictures.
No cartoons.